Leaving your Magento agency can feel like jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. Even with all your frustrations, missed deadlines, recurring bugs, lack of direction, starting over feels scary.
Don't make me choose!
That's why I've put together 5 questions that you can ask prospective Magento agency partners to cut through these fancy pitches and figure out exactly how an agency operates. And yes, you are not going to find out on this list, well, what's your hourly rate? Because hourly rates, in my experience, rarely reflect real value. These tips will help protect your budget, sanity, and your site. And stick around for point number 5. It might surprise you, or at least provide you with a chuckle for today. So the first question to ask your new prospective agency partner is, what is your track record? But I'm going to divide this into 2 more intelligent questions. First, ask about the most difficult or challenging problems they've recently solved. This is going to help you understand the depth of their technical talent. But the second part is far more important. And the second part is to request references and then follow up with those references. Ask 3 very simple questions. Number 1, what are your current pain points with this agency? Again, this new agency partner. Number 2, what do you like most about this agency? And number 3, roughly how much do you spend every month with them? So talk to 2 references that this new Magento agency partner gives you and compare notes. If their spend tier is roughly the same, you are likely to hear the same problems, and those problems are likely to affect you. Can you live with those problems?
I said something to think about.
Number 1 is to understand this agency's track record. Very important. But the second is to ask to talk to the people you'll be working with. I'll be honest, from an agency perspective, it can be a little tricky because the team has not been assigned yet. But most companies are going to have a decent idea, even at the early stages of the sales cycle, who you will be working with. I suggest you talk to at least a project manager and a tech lead. But to be honest, there's often still a very massive missing link. We call it here at SwiftOtter a solutions consultant. I've heard way too many times the phrase, well, my agency is a button pusher. They do what I tell them to do, and it turns out to be this 3-eyed, 15-toed monster. You see, solutions consultants at SwiftOtter bridge the gap between technical and business. They push back, they consult, they help craft requirements that work and that will last. Ask to talk with the team. Ask them to describe some of the recent challenges that they solved and how they handle communication. Don't forget to evaluate if you can technically and linguistically understand them, because if you can't, that is just going to spell challenges down the road. On to point number 3, and this is going to feel like the easiest to vet, but only on the surface. Are they certified? Okay, yes. The Adobe Commerce certifications, I get that. But I recommend asking further and about the level of the certifications. Ideally, the project leads should be at least expert certified. And you know, the funny thing is we've actually helped over 9,000 folks and both small and large agencies on their Magento certification journey. So we've probably helped them too. Honestly, it's a bit of a claim to fame for us, as I'm super proud of the really rich, deep technical talent on our team, but I digress. So we're talking about certifications. People certifications, don't stop there. We want to also ask about the organization. Does the agency have the Adobe Commerce specialization? Adobe then is vetting them at this point as well. And something else you may not have heard about before, but there is an organizational certification called SOC 2, like 2 eyes next to each other. This ensures the company follows best practice for security, which is really important with Magento, people management, business processes, and more. We at SwiftOtter here are actually in the final stages of achieving our SOC 2 certification. I'm really proud of that as of this recording. But before we move on to the next point, I suggest expanding your research about the agency. Are they innovative? Are they looking to stay ahead of industry trends? How involved are they in the ecosystem? Do they educate and tangibly support merchants? Are they in tune with platform enhancements? We've covered the first 3 points and on to point number 4. One of the most painful aspects of an agency relationship is these games of what I call Whack-a-Mage instead of Whack-a-Mole. So the question is, what is your process to get to the root of a problem? Instead of paying to fix the bug only to have another bug pop up, only to have the original bug appear, how can this source of this problem be identified? As you ask questions, the tech lead should have a concise plan as far as how to approach solving these type of problems. And if you want to compare their answers to reality, I wrote a book called The Art of E-Commerce Debugging for e-commerce developers. Link is in the description below, but our team members are required to read it actually. And I suggest you read it, or at least the comics in it, and then you can assess how their answers stack up to what you read in this book. I think you will find it insightful. We are almost done, and are you ready for point number 5? Remember, I said you would be surprised, or at least you would get a chuckle. Here it is. Use ChatGPT. All you have to do is type in the prompt, is XYZ agency a good Magento partner for me? Honestly, it's pretty funny, but you would be surprised that the results are not total garbage. Of course, ChatGPT can only use what it finds online, so unless there's really terrible reviews or, I don't know, maybe good reviews outside of that, maybe the agency also has a solid marketing team. But while this is said in humor, it does bring up the point that ChatGPT can kind of help with evaluating the agency's thought leadership and case study. So make sure you check that out. So unless you want to go down a semi-irrelevant rabbit hole, let's talk about actually what I was hoping to say for point number 5, and that is baby steps. Start small. If you want to retain your current agencies, perhaps you could ask your new prospective agency for a site review or an accessibility audit, or even share some work tickets with them and ask them to estimate it. If you're worried about overages when starting this new engagement, there is nothing wrong with asking for some fixed bid projects. Either way, limited scope but well-defined tasks are an ideal way to learn more about their software development lifecycle. So asking these 5 questions will help you spot red flags early in the process and will help you find a partner who will actually solve your problems and not just bill you for them. I'm going to wrap this up with a shameless plug. To be frank, if you were to ask my team these questions, they will be thinking, wow, this merchant knows what they are talking about and they're putting me through the ringer. It's good. And we want to win your business and demonstrate that it is a true privilege to be able to work with you. We're an e-commerce agency working with Magento among other platforms since 2011. We've built some unreal complex projects like configurators and integrations, but we've also solved seemingly unfixable problems. We would love to chat and have the opportunity to earn your business. Shoot me an email, Joseph@SwiftOtter, to begin the conversation.